Stevie, as we said, it was a dominant performance by Manchester City. Don't worry, citizens. We'll get to talking about how great City and Foden were in just a bit. But looking at the scoreline and considering how the other Manchester derbies of recent days and years have gone, do you think Eric Ten Hag can take some positive from this in the sense that it wasn't as bad as many probably thought? Because people joke about it and say United could be 4-5 down by halftime, judging by last encounters. And it really wouldn't have been a joke because this has been United's reality. So any positives Ten Hag can take from today?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I know Rashford takes a lot of the headlines, and all you was talking about his attitude and his closing down. But I think the positive for Ten Hag would be that Man United as a team today for 60 odd minutes showed that they were together, showed that they were going to run for each other, showed that they were trying to back each other up. So you can't argue that. Manchester United, no question for an hour, were together. And that's one of the things that has been questioned for a long time. Is this side split? Is the dressing room this and that? You know, who is the cliques? All this stuff. But they showed in this game, in particular, that they're running for each other, and that is a huge positive. You know, if they can just be more consistent as individuals and not make mistakes as often as they do from absolutely nowhere, then you've got the makings of a team. But yeah, the positive is the work rate and the commitment they showed to each other until the inevitable. Because when a team like City and the ability that City have, and when you're playing against a guy like Foden, I mean, Foden's exceptional. The way he takes, it doesn't matter how you hit the ball to this guy, whether it's round his throat or round his backside or in the back of his head, he somehow caresses it into the right spot. And the goal is just Phil Foden. Both goals, I should say, it's just Phil Foden. Fantastic player. And as much as I'm saying United were together and closed down well, and the desire was there to do all that hard work, when you're up against a team and up against individuals like Foden, then it's going to be tough. And you're away from home.
Yeah, well, Augie, you should be pretty proud that you're from that Mancunian area because Marcus Rashford, of course, a local boy, showing what he is capable of on his best of days, and Phil Foden as well, the man they call Stockport Messi. Even though that's some that's some high praise to compare anyone to Messi, but truly, how many more good words can we find about Phil Foden? Was he just on some of his best work today that you've seen?
Well, I saw him score a hat-trick last season in this game, so I thought he might be on for another one at one point. But, I tweeted last season that, at some point he could be a Ballon d'Or winner. And I've got, obviously, it's Twitter, you get laughed at. But I think, that in terms of what Foden's got, he's got that real mercurial talent. He can finish, he can beat a player, he can find a pass. He's got great energy. Physically, he's much stronger than he was when he was a kid. And he's one of these City players that doesn't really get the credit he deserves. I think Haaland gets a lot, De Bruyne gets a lot, Rodri gets a lot, and all quite rightly. But Phil Foden just flies under the radar. And I think, I don't know what his stats are overall, but for me, he's just an incredible player. And he's probably not valued as much as he should be because he plays in such a great team. There's a debate in England at times about, should Gareth Southgate pick Phil Foden or Bukayo Saka? I think Saka's a great player, but I pick Foden every time. I just think Foden is the finished article, and I think he's won everything he can win. He's performed at the biggest stage, Champions League stage. He's a sensational player, and it's Stockport Iniesta, by the way. It's not Stockport Messi. He's not that good, but I think I think Iniesta's now the Barcelona Foden. But he's a player. I mean, he's a great player, and I think Guardiola's worked with some top players in his time. I think let's put it this way: they're not missing Jack Grealish because Phil Foden's such a great player.
Oh, Augie, you need to sit in the crowd a bit more. He graduated from Iniesta a long time ago and became a Stockport Messi. But of course, Stevie, speaking to you as well about the goal scorers, it's hard to look past Phil Foden just because of what he did today. But Erling Haaland got his goal today. He now has 80 Manchester City goals in 84 games, 54 in 57 Premier League games. After he missed that chance to show that he may still just be human, he needed to get a goal, didn't he? Or he would have been fuming at the end of this.
Well, at 1-0, I'd kind of written the headlines in my head. I'm thinking, you know what? this guy could have cost City 5 points because his 2 missed headers against Chelsea cost him 2 points, and at 1-0 today, I'm thinking this could be another 3 down the pan. So that's obviously a very negative way of looking at it, but at the same time, somebody like Haaland, they brush things like this off and step up big time. And he did that with the 3rd goal that completely finished this game off. Got himself in a position, opened his body up, didn't panic. The composure was back. The composure was there. And he delivered into the bottom corner. So, yeah, it was a horrendous miss. But somebody with his talent and his mentality can shrug off such a miss like this for lesser players could haunt them and be people talking about it continuously. But this guy just brushes it all off, and then the next time you give him an opportunity, shuts everybody up, puts it in the back of the net, and makes it seem like business as usual.
And Augie, Friday on FC Live, we were talking about how I suppose Eric Ten Hag and possibly more the new guys who are heading up this Ineos investment, the fact that United are entering into a new era, could use this match as a measuring stick just to see really how big the gap.
How far behind they are, you mean?
The gulf between Manchester United and Manchester City is right now. After today's match, what do you think they're thinking in terms of where to start once summer comes?
Where to start, correct.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Listen, when you get on the trains on the London Underground, they say mind the gap. Well, the City fans were chanting mind the gap, Man United, because the gap is massive. I mean, Jim Ratcliffe said a couple of weeks ago that it's a 2 or 3 year project, and that, to be fair, that is being honest. I think it's right. It's at least 2 or 3 years, but I suppose what you need is United to make a lot of progress, and also for Pep Guardiola to leave Man City, because I think until he goes, City will remain this formidable force. And there will inevitably be a dip when Pep Guardiola goes. It happens to all the great clubs. I mean, I'm sure Liverpool have it next year when Klopp leaves. But what is the gap for Man United? I think today, he just told us what we already know, that United have got some good players. Kobbie Mainoo is going to be a good player. Bruno Fernandes in the right team is a good player. I think Rasmus Haaland, when he comes back again, I think he's a good forward amongst good forwards. But I think you look around, you think Victor Lindelof not good enough. Johnny Evans has had a great season. He's been United's best defender, but ultimately he's 36 years old. He isn't up to the future. Diogo Dalot, good going forward. What I'm trying to say is, in every part of the pitch, they need to improve. They need to find better players, and that takes time. And I think City just exposed United today for the weaknesses. And when Amrabat comes off the bench, he doesn't look a player really. You've got Christian Eriksen on the bench, who again, great player in the past, but he's not got the legs anymore. So United have got a lot of problems to address. And I think we already knew that, but today kind of exposed that for what it is. But they do have some talent there. It would be wrong to say they don't, and like Stevie said earlier on, at least we can't accuse United of lacking fight and spirit today, because they really showed that. But Man United are more than fight and spirit. That's not what they're about. That should be the absolute bare minimum. We shouldn't be applauding Man United for showing fight and spirit, but that's where they're at right now.
All right, then. Well, Stevie, I suppose before we wrap, I'm going to throw the attention to you and your Liverpoolians, because you know what they say, it is easier to chase than it is to lead. And City now just 1 point behind Liverpool in the Premier League table. And the fact that, albeit they have been going well, Jurgen's kids, to match up to Manchester City when they're hot on your tails it is quite a daunting task. But after what you've seen today and in terms of the title race, what are you feeling? Are you shaking a little?
I don't shake.
Oh, that's true. You're Scottish, so you're never cold.
There you go. No, I think even previous to this game, City are the team to beat. They were the team to beat at the start of the season, and right now they're still the team to beat. They've got particularly the experience, and they've got something that Liverpool don't have right now, and that is a squad. We saw today the changes that Pep could make, and we also saw a couple of weeks ago the changes that Liverpool can make and bringing on kids. So Alan Hansen did say you don't win anything with kids, and people have poo-pooed that a couple of times since he said it. But Liverpool ain't winning the Premier League this season if the kids have got to play. game after game. You know, they have to get the big guns back, and if they don't, then they will drop points, and that shouldn't surprise anybody. The problem is, will City drop points? I'm not so sure, and that's why they're favourites still, big time.
Well, I think those kids might want to remind everyone that they've got a nice little Carabao Cup medal that they are definitely holding close to their heart, that they played a part in winning there for Liverpool. Thanks so much, of course, to Mark Ogden and to Stevie Nicol. It was a big day in the Premier League with this Manchester derby, but as it has been for some time now, Manchester remains blue for the moment.